Lesson 16 is titled More Complicated Evaluations. Now maybe that's not the type of title that you were hoping to see, but what did you expect it to say? Less complicated evaluations as you got further along in the book? So just try to remember, having a good attitude about schoolwork, whether it's math or whatever, that's real important. I could explain this lesson perfectly to you, but if you have a bad attitude, it's not going to make a difference. You'll still do bad on it. God is giving you a chance right now to make the most of the brain that He's given you and to develop the thinking and problem-solving skills that you can develop. Or you can choose not to try very hard, and you can just reap the consequences of a bad effort and a bad attitude later on in life. I hope you choose to work hard and to try to make the most of this chance to learn and to develop some good thinking and problem-solving skills. So in this lesson, the reason it's called More Complicated is basically you're just going to have multiple symbols of inclusion now in these evaluation problems. You were first introduced to these evaluation problems back in Lesson 14, so this is just an extension of that. Let's just go ahead and do some practice problems. Look at practice problem A, and you have that expression there, and what I want you to do is to evaluate that expression when A is equal to 2 and when Y is equal to -1. So let's just go ahead and substitute the numbers in and line it up right underneath that expression. And so A is 2, and we would have -2, and then we have a negative or a minus Y, so we have minus parentheses -1. Since we're substituting a -1 in, we should put that in parentheses to distinguish the negative of the -1 from the negative in front of the Y. Put the minus sign here, and then parentheses A plus Y, so we'll have 2 plus a -1, or we can just write 2 minus 1. And then put our bracket there. So now we do our innermost set of parentheses first. We have all our numbers in place. So we'll say -2, bracket. Now we could go ahead and simplify -1 there, and we just say +1, minus another +1. And so now we have -2. And then 1 minus 1, that will just be 0. And so now we just have -2 times 0 is 0. So once we get our numbers substituted, and as long as we get our numbers substituted into the right places, these problems are just like the expressions that we were doing previously with multiple symbols of inclusion, except we didn't have letters, we had just the numbers. So the key again is just to stay organized here, and I think the best way to keep organized is to work these problems out vertically and do them just like we've been learning. You do your innermost sets of parentheses first, and then you do the orders of operation, multiplication and division first, then addition. Let's do another one. Let's just go ahead and evaluate that expression when A is -2 and T is -3. So let's just substitute the numbers in right below this expression. We have a minus sign first. A is -2, so we put that -2 in parentheses. And then T is -3, so we put that in parentheses as well. AT, that means A times T, right? So we're doing -2 times -3. Then we have a bracket, negative, and then T is -3, so parentheses, -3, and then times -A, so A is -2, so minus -2. So we have got a lot of negative signs here, and it's just real important to keep up with those. I think the easiest way to do that is just like we're doing here, working the problems vertically, putting negative numbers. When you substitute a negative number in, almost always you put that in parentheses. So let's just go ahead and start working left to right here. And we have a negative out front, and we can go ahead and do that -2 times -3 operation, and that'll just be a 6. So we have -6, bracket, and then we have a negative times -3, so let's just make that a +3, parentheses, negative times -2 would be a +2. Okay, and so now we see we have a -6 times 6, and that would just equal -36. Let's do one more evaluation. We'll evaluate this expression when a is equal to 1 and b is equal to -5. So let's go ahead and start substituting our numbers in, and we have -1 plus -5, then a bracket, minus a plus b, so that would be 1 minus 5, and then times b on the end there, so let's put that in parentheses, -5, and then minus a -5, so let's just go ahead and do that in our head, and we'll just say plus 5. Okay, let's continue on here, working the innermost set of parentheses first. -1 minus 5 bracket minus a -4 times a -5 plus 5. So then we'll have -1 minus 5, and then we see there that we have 3 negatives all multiplied together, so the answer will be negative. It will be a -20 plus 5. Now I'm running out of room at the bottom of my board, so I'll just go ahead and continue this problem to the right. And we'll have -1 minus 5 times a -15. Now a -5 times a -15, that would be a positive 75. Add the -1 to that, and so we would end up with a positive 74 for an answer. So get your numbers substituted in correctly. Always put those negative numbers inside parentheses. Unless it's like the very first number in an evaluation and there's like not a negative sign in front of it, then I think that's okay. You don't have to worry about putting it in parentheses. But all the other times, put those negative numbers in parentheses, and that really helps you keep up with that negative sign. Okay, well that's all for lesson 16.